Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This is a supplemental episode to look at a new release of something we've seen before and get a little bit more detail on its story, although honestly some of it still is unclear to me. It's a documentary about some of the masked individuals during the filming of A New Hope, such as the person behind the Greedo mask, for example, called Elstree 1976. We have previously looked at this DVD release. This DVD release was through MVD Visual, a division of MVD Entertainment Group. Single disc DVD release, mass-produced regular DVD. We also looked at this, the Special Director's Edition Blu-ray. This does not have anything for MVD on it anywhere. And you might note that this was a print-on-demand Blu-ray. You can tell by the coloration of the back there. Okay. Recently, there has been a new Blu-ray release of Elstree 1976. And apparently this has more controversy linked to it than I realized. I'd be curious if somebody could fill me in a little bit more down in the comments who was actually a part, perhaps, of the process for this, because this was actually a Kickstarter. So I mean like a Kickstarter backer. Now, I've done a lot of backing of stuff on Kickstarter. I want to say whatever the next thing I back is going to be something like my 70th. And that's not even including almost an equal number of things that I've either late pledged or picked up after the fact where I've got all the, Kickstarter goodies. But for me, it's typically been board games. Nemesis, Tainted Grail, some of the more recent stuff like Ignite. Right now, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to back Dungeons of Infinity 2nd Edition, trying to decide if I'm going to back Three Tail when it pops up here in a few days. But a lot of that kind of stuff, from big and small. Small stuff like Mint 10, stuff like Doom Machine, all the way up to some of the big, gigantic, sprawling games like Tainted Grail that I mentioned. But I have backed a few other types of things. Couple of audio productions, albums. One from one of my favorite bands, which I can't remember what they were calling themselves at the time. It may have been right when they called themselves Sin Shake Sin, which is what they're called now. But Stacey Hogan's group, previously known as Lovers and Liars, previously Spout. And then a more recent one where it's basically an audio CD that's sort of rap based on Dungeons and Dragons. Very interesting concept type thing. And in one case, I backed a book, and in one case, I backed a comic. The book was actually something I had contributed to that I wanted to show support for, which is one of the 10,000 Dawns anthologies. And the graphic novel / comic was Hexer Dusk by John Ostrander and Jan Duursema. And what I've discovered is that while board games typically get delayed a lot on Kickstarter, most of them are far enough along in the process that the delays are kind of considered normal. But eventually you wind up with them in your hands. Although right now we've got the big shipping crisis going on, the container shortage, and prices for freight shooting through the roof. So it's kind of a whole issue there. But it was the more creative things that were more hit or miss, and it tended to be the print stuff that left me kind of scratching my head. One of them said the 10,000 Dawns one, everything came in, but I believe there's like an art print kind of thing that never was able to get produced. I haven't really care that much because that wasn't really what I was in for. I was in it for the books. But I think there's still like that one outstanding piece that just had an incredibly hard time trying to get their hands on something that would like do that cost effectively. And then I want to say with the other one with Hexer Dusk, that's a great story, and I've got the digital version of it, and my son and I actually appear in it as background characters. But we're like 5 years on, I think, and no physical item has yet to arrive from that one. It is still a slow, very, very slow ongoing process. So it seems like the creative stuff, the stuff where you don't have as much work already done and you're just sort of wrapping things up and play testing and things like that like you would with board games going up on Kickstarter oftentimes, tends to be the stuff that takes the longest and is more fraught with peril for those trying to put it together. Well, apparently, Elstree 1976 was funded through Kickstarter. And there was a little bit of controversy, apparently, because the versions that were going out to people via Kickstarter were not supposed to be the same ones that would show up at retail. Turns out that they were. These here, I didn't get these through Kickstarter, I got these Can't remember if I got either of them through eBay. I think I just ordered them through Amazon, like regular Amazon, not even Amazon Marketplace, if I remember correctly. But there were these. But there was supposed to be an extra bonus disc of special features exclusive to the Kickstarter, and apparently because of some type of legal entanglement, it never got made. So the one disc for either version was all there ever was. There at one point was a video that was put up as like a, hey, we wanted to get you the extra disc, we couldn't, but here's like an exclusive video. But it was a timed release thing, like it was a video you could download off of this one website or watch off of this one website, but it was timed so that after a short time it would disappear and then it was gone forever. It's kind of hard to follow the story of the plagued, production of this, partly because their Kickstarter, most of the updates, which is how you would get that information, be able to see that information, are set for backers only. It's kind of a bad practice these days to do backers-only updates unless there is something backers should only be able to see or like an exclusive link in it or something like that. But no, tons and tons of backer-only things, so it's hard to follow exactly what the hell happened with it. But suffice to say, the retail versions, I believe it is both of these, the retail versions here, one through MVD, one apparently print on demand, were not supposed to be the same as the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter was supposed to have an extra bonus disc that never happened. Well, this came out through MVD back in 2016. This came out in 2016 as well, but again, print on demand, no MVD stuff. Well, now MVD has put out their own version of the Blu-ray, and there's been some question as to exactly what is on this thing. This is the new one, put out here in September of 2021, so 5 years later. You'll notice here that it is very similar in design. It has taken Special Director's Edition and removed it. So up at the top it says, The Masked Men and Women of Star Wars Tell Their Stories, The Verge. A film by John Spira, Elstree 1976, a testament to modern pop cultural obsession, Screen Daily. The original didn't have a quote here, had Special Director's Edition, and the quote down here was different. The rare Star Wars story that hasn't yet been told, or the rare Star Wars story that hasn't been told. There's no yet in there, from IGN. The DVD did have the same quotes from MVD as this new MVD Blu-ray. So this is the new Blu-ray here, the front we just saw. The spine has a Stormtrooper helmet, Elstree 1976, Blu-ray symbol, MVD visual, and then a product number. The back has information about their film festival accolades, a couple of images, information about it that we've looked at before, a few more shots from it. Color 2016, English, product number for MVD, MVD and Blu-ray symbols here that were not previously there. Again, previously it just said color 2016, English, and Blu-ray disc there. We'll look at a side-by-side in a second. Cast crew information with your various symbols and your legalese down here at the bottom. But you notice something that is missing here. Aside from just Special Director's Edition, this one above that last set of images says Special Features and notes deleted and extended scenes, a tour of Elstree Studios, filmmaker audio commentary, and theatrical trailer. This lists none of those bonus features. Leads to an interesting question, does it not? Your disc then, title, Blu-ray symbol, various company symbols, MVD visual, a division of MVD Entertainment Group, and a product number. Let's do a side-by-side here, because we are talking about the Blu-rays here. So we have our original and new. Blu-ray symbol has changed. MVD stuff is now on there as well. Covers, we already looked at how that information has changed here. Back, original versus new. Right? A little bit of icon changes down at the bottom. Primarily there, you get the film festival stuff changed there up at the top. And then side by side here. Mostly it's the MVD branding that is different. For comparison purposes, there's the DVD back from MVD, which looks a lot more organizationally like what you see on the new MVD. Question is, this is the Special Director's Edition. This is the regular edition in 2021. This is apparently identical to the retail version in 2016. This lists special features, this does not. What's on the discs? Exactly the same content. Yes, this version includes all the bonus features that are on this version. There's nothing special or director's edition about this other than the fact that it was released 5 years before the other one. They are the same content. One of them is print on demand, one of them is not. One of them is standard retail. Both have gone out through retail 5 years apart. Packaging and the disc label and the fact that it is not print on demand anymore are really the only differences. So if you own one, you really don't need to own the other unless you're a collector like me and you like various variants as you go. So, for those who have been wondering, what is this that started showing up on release lists and started finally popping up again? Didn't we get this a few years ago? Yes. Yes, we did. But the story of this is kind of fraught with various issues and whatnot through Kickstarter, the lack of a bonus disc that was supposed to be there, and these weren't really meant to be exactly the same thing as from Kickstarter when they showed up at retail. Whereas this is designed specifically for retail, released 5 years later in packaging similar to the DVD, in Blu-ray dimensions, more mass-produced, and yes, though, with the same content. You're not losing anything if you buy this new regular version versus this old Special Director's Edition. It is a designation that is effectively meaningless other than telling you whether what you're getting is print on demand from 5 years ago or retail from this year. No biggie otherwise. I was curious about that, so yes, I picked it up. I was going to pick it up anyway, but I did the side-by-side comparison just to be on the safe side, and yeah, you're not losing out on anything if you got the new one versus the old one, or vice versa. It's same old stuff. I am curious, though, more about the backstory of what exactly happened during production, why those discs were never produced, and a little bit more about just the Kickstarter process for this particular one in general. I'm certainly much more familiar with it for board games than for stuff like this. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.